What is up, awesome people of the internet? Guys, women's college basketball regular season is over. We have Texas in their first year in the SEC ended up tying for the regular season championship with South Carolina. We got in the ACC another tie as NC State and Notre Dame a tie for that top record in the ACC. In the Big East, surprise, surprise. Of course, you have the same team that wins every single year in UConn. I believe this is their 12th straight league title, regular season title for UConn, and I believe the 24th overall. Crazy, crazy numbers. In the Big Ten, in the first season that they're in the conference, the USC, I should say, USC ended up winning the regular season title in a glorious match against UCLA. Guys, we have seen a lot of stuff. Regular season is now over, ended yesterday, and now here comes postseason play. And there's a lot of people who don't totally understand everything that's happening. Some of y'all maybe some of y'all do, maybe some of y'all don't. But regardless of if you feel like you understand everything and if you feel like you understand nothing, this video is for you. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to give the guide to women's basketball postseason for college basketball. It's gonna be a great time. We're gonna go through just about everything. So make sure to stay tuned into this video. I'm gonna try to make it as short as possible and then dive into further things down the road if we need to. Okay. All right. So here's your guide to the postseason. All right, and we start with tournaments galore. We have lots of tournaments, including an all-star game as well. But let's talk about the conference tournaments. The conference tournaments start tomorrow for some conferences, and they go from March to 4th through March to 6th, 16th, I should say. We have the NCAA tournament, which is the main tournament that everybody always looks for. That is actually March Madness. The NCAA tournament is the only thing that is officially March Madness for both the men and the women. Everything else that happens in March is not March Madness. Technically, the only thing that's March Madness is the NCAA tournament, which starts on March the 16th and runs until April the 6th, when we will crown our new champion. We have the WBIT, which is a tournament for teams that do not make it in the regular NCAA tournament. It's like the next crop of really good teams, and that is ran by the NCAA. We have the WNIT that is actually not ran by the NCAA, and is sort of like that third tier of teams. All right, and WBIT runs from March the 20th through April the 2nd, and the WNIT ends up going from March the 20th through April the 5th. Okay, so we've gone through some of the dates that you all need to know. So let's get into some of the questions that I think some people might be wondering. Some people might be wondering, okay, what is conference? What is it? We talk about all these conferences. Like, I don't get it. Here's the deal. There are 31 conferences in the NCAA. And college basketball is divided into conferences for several reasons, right? It just makes it easier to sort of organize. And the conferences are largely based off of geography. Like, typically, the ACC was only 4 teams on the East Coast, right? The Big Ten historically was 4 teams that were in the Midwest. The Mountain West, same thing. Like, as time has gone on, things have changed, but it's largely been based off of geography, history, competition level, and of course, in recent years, that moolah, which has sent teams like UCLA and USC to the Big Ten, because of course, money, primarily football money, and then all the other programs kind of follow suit. All right. Each team plays most of their games within the conference, and the conference play determines standings and postseason opportunities. If you are in a huge conference like a Power Five, right, you can have lots more opportunities to make postseason play, regardless of how you really do in conference. Um, but if you're a mid-major, you have to do really, really well in conference play and in non-conference play to actually really get a shot. So the split is Power Five, which is SEC, ACC, Big Ten, Big 12, right? And then you have the mid-majors like the Missouri Valley Conference, the MEAC, the West Coast Conference, etc. Okay, let's continue to move on. We have regular season play, that we see teams play a set number of conference games during the season. And the number of games vary by the conferences. For example, the Big Ten plays in 18 games, and the SEC plays in 16 games. And you all may be wondering, okay, well, like, talk more about the importance of these games. Well, these games are important because conference regular season games kind of determine conference standings and seeding for the conference tournaments, which is very helpful and could lead to an automatic bid if you win the conference tournament. Or if you don't win it, but you are competitive in conference play, it helps teams sort of build out a resume for the NCAA tournament for those at large bids. All right. And let's continue on. We have the regular season conference championship, which actually just happened. So all of the 31 conferences have either a singular champion or a co-champion, depending on, if the two top teams tied, then you have co-champions. The team with the best record in conference play, ends up winning the regular season title. And as I said, some conferences do recognize those co-champions if multiple teams finish with the same record. And here's the thing: regular season champs do not receive an automatic NCAA bid. Right? You don't automatically receive a bid for winning the regular season. You do if you win the conference tournament, but you do not automatically make it if you win the regular season championship. So it's one of those things that matters, but at the same time doesn't totally matter as well. Right? So you don't qualify for the regular NCAA tournament by winning, but if you don't make the regular NCAA tournament and you won your conference regular season title, you do automatically get entered into the WBIT. All right, so that's something to know. But that's not the main dance that everybody wants to actually participate in. So, regular season title, it matters, but also it doesn't matter. It matters for seeding for the conference tournament. But you don't get an automatic bid into the regular NCAA tournament. So something to note there. All right, let's continue on. And some of you may be like, okay, you just mentioned conference tournament. What is that? Well, the conference tournament is a single elimination tournament that is held at the end of the regular season, which has just ended, and the conference tournaments are about to start soon. And the conference tournament, that is the thing that determines who gets the conference's automatic bid into the NCAA. And let's continue to go down further on specifically about the tournament. So the conference tournaments, we see higher seeds get buys into later rounds. For example, the Big Ten, right? There's a double bye that's happening where I believe it's USC and UCLA. They're able to skip those first two games and just make it, because they've been so good, and also because the Big Ten just has a lot of teams. So we will see some buys for some conferences, just depending on how many teams are in that conference and sort of how everything is all structured out. And I will be having a separate video talking about at least the bigger name schools and what's happening in terms of their conference tournament. So make sure to keep an eye out for that. All right. Most tournaments do have neutral site locations, but some do actually hold their games at higher seeded team venues. So it just depends on the conference. The larger the conference, the more likely it's at a neutral site, but the smaller the conference, the more that it's likely not, at least for the early rounds, right? For example, we have the Big East. The Big East is ran basically by UConn, and technically the game is at a neutral site, because the games will be the Big Ten, Big East championship, I should say, is held. It's held in Unkinsville, Connecticut, which is not the same thing as Stores. Okay, so yes, it's gonna feel like UConn is at home, but technically it is a neutral site. All right, so something to note on that front. All right. And then, guys, as I go through this, if y'all have questions, leave it in the comments below, and I will try my best to actually get to it and answer your question. Okay. So you may be wondering, okay, why do conferences matter? Why does conference tournaments matter? Well, it matters because it allows some of the top teams to improve their NCAA tournament seeding. So we have teams that are like easily going to be in the tournament, but there may be some wiggle room in terms of, are they a 1 seed or are they a 2 seed? Or a 3 seed. The conference tournament can help the committee kind of make that decision, right? It can help that. So it's important for top teams. Now, is it going to prevent some top teams from not making the tournament, not making the NCAA tournament? No. but conference tournaments do help to improve or slightly drop, but it won't absolutely remove anybody. For example, LSU is a team that they could lose the conference tournament and be just fine, right? Because I still see them as a 2 seed, right? Knowing that Flaugy Johnson is not going to be playing in the conference tournament, if you know if LSU makes it to the semifinals, they end up losing, doesn't matter. I still see them as a 2 seed. But if, let's just say, they end up winning the SEC tournament, maybe there's a bit of a question about maybe do they get that nod for that 1 seed? It becomes a bigger question. Like, they could go up. I don't necessarily see them going down, right? But it could help a team like a Georgia, the team that just beat Tennessee yesterday. If Georgia makes a crazy run, not likely going to happen, but if they make a crazy run and end up in the championship game for the SEC, oh, maybe they're getting at it into the NCAA tournament. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's likely not going to happen at all. But if it did, it could help improve. It could help actually get them into one of those at-large seats, and because bubble team, right? And for lower seeds, it's a automatic entry into the NCAA tournament, because if you win the tournament, if you win the conference tournament, you automatically get entered into the NCAA tournament. Okay, so for top teams, it can help to improve or slightly lower your NCAA tournament seeding. For bubble teams, it could help them get a at-large bid, and for lower seeds, it could help them actually end up making the tournament if they win their conference tournament. All right, so you may be wondering, okay, I'm excited. I want to watch conference tournaments. I want to watch it. Well, how do you watch? Depends on the conference. So I listed out some of the most notable conferences that I think that most of my audience actually care about. But you can check out every single conference tournament, including the dates, including the places where you're going to be able to watch those games. Every single conference championship game is accessible to people. It's either on regular TV. It's either on regular TV, or it's a subscription that you can get. All right, that's every single conference championship you can watch. But of course you have to pay to get access to it and all that stuff. Anyway, for the Big Ten, you can watch every single game for the conference tournament either on the Big Ten Network, on Peacock, on CBS, and on Paramount Plus. The actual championship game is going to be on CBS. For the SEC conference tournament, you're going to be able to watch that on the SEC Network, ESPN2, and ESPN. For the ACC, you'll be able to watch that on the ACC Network, ESPN2, and ESPN. For the Big 12, you can watch those games on ESPN Plus, ESPNU, and ESPN. And the Big East, you'll be able to watch those games on the Big East Network, which I didn't even know was a thing. FS2, FS1, and Fox. Okay. Now let's continue on. We are out of the woods when it comes to the conference tournaments. Now let's go to the NCAA tournament. So the NCAA tournament, as I said earlier, is officially March Madness. It is a single elimination tournament that determines the national champion for the Division I college basketball. For Division I college basketball, it's a glorious time. It's a glorious time. And guys, I hope y'all are getting ready for some Cinderella stories. Some teams that were not supposed to win that won. I hope y'all looking forward to some buzzer beaters. I'm just hoping that y'all look forward to some crazy storylines. Both the men's and women's tournament follows a very similar structure, though they have slightly different selection processes and host sites. Now, how many teams actually make it into the NCAA tournament? Well, it is we end up seeing 68 teams make it into the tournament. And that is split out by automatic bids and at-large bids. The automatic bids go to the conference tournament champions, okay? They get an automatic bid. As I said earlier, there are 31 conferences in the NCAA for women's college basketball. 31 conferences. Each of those 31 conferences are having a tournament. Each of those tournaments will have a eventual winner, and each of those 31 teams will end up getting an automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. Okay. Now, what happens to the other 37 teams? Well, those are considered at-large bids, and they're selected by the NCAA committee, and it's going to be based off of the team's season performance. Right? It's gonna feature the net rankings, right? Which look at the strength of schedule. It looks at the quality of wins. It looks at the overall record. It looks at the personnel on the teams. And all of that, the committee looks at everything and then determines which of those other teams will fill out the 37 remaining spots. And then we have our list of 68. All right, let's continue on talking about the tournament seating and regions. Here's the thing. Teams are ranked from 1 to 16 in each of the 4 quadrants. We see teams from the same conference. Generally, the committee tries to keep them apart early in the tournament because, again, these teams have gone against each other during the regular season, during conference play. They probably went against each other in the conference tournament. The NCAA does not want the teams to face other conference their same conference foes early in the tournament, because that's not going to be fun. So when we look at placement, the NCAA is going to have that in mind, right? It's not likely at all that you will see South Carolina versus Kentucky in the first round of the NCAA tournament. It is not likely that's going to happen because the NCAA is trying to, because they're both in the SEC, the NCAA committee is trying to kind of keep those matchups from happening early in the tournament. But, they try their best, but it's not always a guarantee, but that's what they try. It's in their rules that they try to do that. And the number 1 seeds are usually the strongest teams based off of their overall performance in both non-conference and conference play. And guys, there is a whole lot of got potential, which I love about March Madness, because the lower seeded teams can and will upset higher seeds. So get ready for teams to get got. Your favorite team may just get got. I'm just saying. I am just saying. Okay, so how does the format work? Well, we have the first 4, which is technically a part of the tournament, but at the same time feels like it's not, but technically they are. This is sort of like a play-in of sorts. This is the 4 games that happen involving the 4 lowest. These are games that happen and involve the 4 lowest seeded at-large teams, and the 4 lowest seeded automatic qualifiers. Okay, so the 4 worst conferences, the teams that won those conference tournaments, versus the last 4 at large. They're going against each other, and the winners end up advancing to the traditional 64 bracket for the actual tournament. And that's something to note there. And then this round of 64, which is the official first round, even though they have the first 4, it's 68 teams, and Mr. President is very excited about it, as you can tell. There's 68 teams that are participating in the NCAA tournament, but it's really 64 because once those first 4 is done, you got the round of 64. And as we expect, this is a single elimination setup where the higher seeded teams face the lower seeded teams. So 1 versus 16, 2 versus 15, so on and so forth. And you may be wondering, okay, how does the rest of the format look? Well, we go from 68 to 64, which is the first round, to 32, round of 32, which is the second round. We then move on to the Sweet 16, the Elite 8, the Final 4, and then we have the champion. What they're gonna be singing? We are the champions, my friend. Yeah, they're gonna be rocking out with that. Probably. I don't even know who made that song, but that's like a song that you play when you win or whatever. Anyway, why does this matter? Why does any of this matter? Well, it matters for teams and conferences because team legacy and coach legacy is a thing, right? You want to be known as the team that has won X amounts of NCAA championships. You want to be known as the team that can make it deep in the tournament. And for coaches, same thing. It's a status thing. It is a status thing. And this is also an opportunity to have Cinderella teams that can help to put mid-majors on the map. Guys, here's the thing. Every year we have Cinderella teams that, no one expects that's going to make some noise, but end up making some noise. Y'all remember I would consider them a Cinderella team. But y'all remember like several years ago, where Arizona ended up making it far in the NCAA tournament. And Adia Barnes was like, everybody was talking about Adia Barnes and how great of a coach she was to even get to get the team as far as they did and whatnot. I believe they made it to the Final Four one year, and it was like a huge deal where nobody expected Arizona to make it as far as they did, but they did, and it was like a huge story. Like, you know, and it allows teams to sort of ride that wave for a long time. Anyway, it can help put you on the map. No, it also helps with recruitment, right? What is the whole purpose of these teams? To recruit more players to come to their team, to stack their team up to win, and eventually make that moolah. That's what all this comes down to: money, money, money. Okay. Now, when we talk about the players, why does it matter for them? Well, strong performances can help to boost a player's WNBA draft stock if they're going into the league. It also helps their transfer options because transferring is a thing. So if you are on a not so good team, but you have a dominant performance in the tournament, well, you may have some other teams knocking on your door and saying, "Hey, come on over to our team. Let's hook up. Let's make some stuff happen." Okay. Also, college basketball, March Madness is where legends are made. And hey, no time like March to make a name for yourself, to be a player who, yeah, people knew about, but having people be like, stand up and be like, oh, ooh, oh, that person's serious. Oh, that person's good. You know what I'm saying? And also, as always, money, money, money. NIL, huge opportunities for NIL. The 2024 NCAA, or 2023, I should say, NCAA tournament open the floodgates for even more NIL money just because of the dramatics of what happened with LSU and Iowa. Like, it was a huge deal. NIL numbers soared because of that. And this year, I'm sure we'll see a lot of NIL money on the table as these players are showing up and showing out. Okay, so you may be wondering, you know, how you could participate. So you could participate by filling out a bracket with your friends. The March Madness tournament bracket is always a popular thing. You can find brackets on just about every sports site. We will have an official Awesome People of the Internet bracket, so look forward to that. We'll have a bracket challenge, and we'll have some awards for people who win. It'll be fun. It'll be a fun time. You also have an opportunity to get hooked on storylines. March Madness is all about storylines. And here's the thing: I am a huge fan of that. I love to hear and talk about the stories of players and teams that have overcome a whole bunch to get to where they are. I love to hear about upsets. I just love storylines. That's my thing. And so March Madness is absolutely a way that you can dive into that. Also watch the games. Women's college basketball is where it's at. It's been growing year over year over year. And what I would love is if we were able to see a very strong NCAA tournament again. I understand that, like, yeah, the numbers may not be as good this upcoming year because Caitlin's out, right? Caitlin was a huge draw, last 2 years, and she's out, and so uh, I don't know if the numbers will be exactly the same, but I'm hoping that they be as close as possible. So definitely watch, and not just watch the games. Watch this channel. Guys, I will be doing my best to give you all context, give you all information about every single thing that's happening in postseason play, from conference tournaments to the NCAA tournament. So make sure to keep it locked on this channel. Okay. Okay. Now let's continue on. What makes March Madness so special? Well, to me, it's very special because it is the most exciting and unpredictable tournament in sports. Literally anything can happen. Okay. We could see dominant teams run the table. We could see, easy path to victory, easy path to the tournament championship game. Like, we could see blowouts constantly, left and right. Or we could see shocking Cinderella runs. We could see teams that were not supposed to do anything make it all the way to the end. We could see coaches' legacies being strengthened or tarnished. We could see players' legacy be strengthened or tarnished. We could see a opportunity for just fireworks galore. So I hope y'all are excited about it. Whether you are a die-hard fan or a casual viewer, March Madness never disappoints, in my opinion. Now, we've gone through conference tournament. We've gone through the NCAA tournament. Now I want to tell you about two of the other tournaments that are happening in March as well. We have the WBIT, which is the Women's Basketball Invitational Tournament. It is ran by the NCAA. This is something that they just debuted last year. We have 32 teams who do not make the main tournament will participate in the WBIT, or at least get an invitation to participate. We will see regular season conference champs automatically be qualified. So let's say a regular season champion did not make the regular NCAA tournament, they will automatically get qualified for this. You know, let's say, I don't know, let's give a random MEAC. Let's say the team that won the MEAC regular season conference does not win the MEAC tournament. Okay, that team will then automatically get qualified for the WBIT. Also, the first 4 teams out of the main tournament will also receive automatic bids into the WBIT. So the first 4 that are out, it's not all is not lost, right? If the first 4 is out of the main NCAA tournament, they still have a chance to make a run in the WBIT. So that's that. Now we go from the WBIT to the WNIT, which is a independent tournament that is not run by the NCAA, that has been around for a long, long time. They have a preseason WNIT, they have a postseason WNIT. It features 48 teams, and we'll find it's sort of like a third rung, I would say. So it's the NCAA tournament, of course, number 1. Then we have the WBIT, and then we have the WNIT. And the only reason the WBIT is so high, is higher than the WNIT, is because the WBIT is ran by the NCAA. So like there's like additional perks and whatnot that teams get for participating in that instead of participating in the WNIT. Okay. Now let's continue on, guys, to a newer thing, because old is now new. Nothing is new under the sun. We have the women's college all-star game. Now, for those who have been rocking for a long time, y'all know that this was a thing back in the 2000s, right? The women's basketball coaches association did the all-star challenge in 1998 through 2006, and then went away for a while. Now it's back. Came back last season, and now we have the second season in a row. And we will see the women's college all-star game take place on Saturday, April the 5th in Tampa, on ESPN2, and it will feature players who are eligible and who have entered into the WNBA draft. So those are the players that are going to be participating. You're not going to see Juju Watkins in there, right? You're not going to see Mylesia Fulwiley. You're not going to see Hannah. You're not going to see those players in the All-Star game. The All-Star game is for college seniors and people who are entered into the WNBA draft. Okay, all right, and we'll find out a week before who actually is participating in that. All right, so guys, that is the news. That is everything, just about everything you need to know about postseason for women's college basketball. I know there's a lot more deep dives I can do about each conference, and I will be doing that in a separate video. So make sure to take a look at this channel for more updates. Sometimes y'all don't get notifications, so make sure to just actually go to the channel itself and go to videos and just see what I have put out. Thank y'all so much for rocking with me, and I will see y'all in the next one. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Let me know what y'all thought about this video. What did y'all think about the way that this was presented? In a good way, in a bad way? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And I will see y'all in the next one. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.